It's Monday, December 2nd, 2013, and let's talk about what happened this weekend over at xdadevelopers.com. Now, since the Thanksgiving holiday was on Thursday, that means there wasn't a whole lot of news over the weekend, so let's go ahead and just go over some of the top stories that I noticed. First up, as an update to the story we talked about on Friday, HTC has given the update for the HTC One Google Play Edition to Google. It started rolling out over the air as of this Friday, probably before then as well. In addition to the Google Play Edition, they've also started rolling out the KitKat update to the HTC One developer and unlock models. So while this may not be in exactly the same boat as Motorola, where they've rolled it out to the grand majority of the US carriers for the Motorola Moto X, this is still definitely a step in the right direction. They're getting it out there relatively quickly. Hopefully the rest of the carriers will follow suit within the next few weeks, few months. I believe the goal is still by the end of January for all the US carriers to have it done, so hopefully they will be able to stick to that. The ones that have been released so far are the ones that HTC 100% controls, so I'm sure that the same sort of code will be released to the carriers and then it will happen sometime. But anyway, let's keep things rolling. Another thing we talked about on Friday was the Google Nexus 1 receiving an unofficial update to Android 4.4 thanks to an XDA member. Well, another device of a similar generation and completely unexpected off-the-wall device has received a KitKat update as of this weekend as well. And that is none other than the HTC HD2, the device that should never have even gotten any of this as far as the manufacturer is concerned. And that is thanks to XDA senior member Chowtrong10. Yeah, I said that one completely wrong. Sorry about that. And as you would probably expect, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be daily driver ready, but it's definitely proof of concept. It gets the code out there and makes it ready to go, but it's lacking mobile data, it's lacking Wi-Fi, it's lacking SD card. There are some graphical glitches, just like with pretty much every KitKat ROM on every device that I've heard of lately, but it does have the basics. It has KitKat running on it, so someone is surely going to pick this up and run with it. Hopefully the guy who did it himself will continue to work on it as well. So if you have the HD2 and you want to try KitKat out on it, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Head on over to the forum thread for all the details and all the ins and outs and gotchas about it. And now on to our next topic. We've spoken before about the Xposed Framework having some updates coming out and how it was in a 2.4 beta state. Well, as of this weekend, Rovo89 has gone ahead and pulled off that beta tag, made it official 2.4 Xposed Framework, bringing overall improved performance, better logging, better debugging, and of course, as we mentioned before, KitKat compatibility. Now, the one thing this does not do is it does not add in art support. So if you were planning on using art on your device, do not plan on using Xposed at the same time. Apparently, it's going to require a significant rewrite of the framework itself if the people want to use it with art, so it may never actually work with art unless someone wants to undertake the major rewrite it's going to take. But one way or another, definitely nice to see some improvements coming out, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it moving forward. And the last thing to mention is actually kind of scary. According to the Romanian security researcher Bogdan Alecu, there's a bug in the way that Nexus devices handle SMS messages, specifically the flash SMS messages, the ones that come in at the top level that are not actually going into the inbox, the ones that just pop up on the screen and then pop away. The kind of messages where if you're on a prepaid plan, for example, and you have a charge come to your account, it will pop up on the screen and say, hey, by the way, here's a free message telling you about a charge. Well, apparently, if you throw about 30 or so of those messages at the device all in rapid succession, it freezes or reboots or crashes. Now, realistically, overall, this is not a huge deal. It would require someone to actually have your number to be able to send you those SMS messages and to be able to target you with the application, with some sort of an app that would be able to send them in such a short amount of time to make it reboot. But realistically, getting someone's number can be a relatively trivial process, especially if you have physical proximity to the device and to the person. But what makes things worse is apparently Google was notified about this before Android 4.3 even released, and the problem has still not been fixed. And it is only affected in Nexus devices, so what? Now, as you might have guessed here, and you might be saying this yourself, it's a denial of service, but it's not really terrible. It's going to reboot your device, it's going to crash your device, but the worst case scenario, you're probably going to lose 30 seconds to a minute when it happens. But if someone targets your device, the odds are pretty good they're going to continue to target your device, and it's just poking you with a stick over and over again. And realistically, you could be in the middle of a very important phone call, you could be in the middle of an important download, you could be trying to download the software to flash something new to your device, you could potentially brick your device if you're not very careful. if something happened at the wrong time and you got rebooted. Not gonna say that it's absolutely the worst thing in the world, but there are definitely some implications there that this could be a bigger problem than I'm letting on. Now, this researcher has gone ahead and created an application that you can use to test it, just to see if your device is vulnerable to it. It probably is if it's a Nexus device, but additionally, he's made an application that can be used to help prevent it, to help sort of put a firewall, I think he calls it like click zero firewall, something like that, that just essentially blocks out certain types of text messages, SMS messages, from actually hitting your device more than a certain number of times in a row. So that's definitely a good workaround for the time being until Google gets up and fixes the problem. But as always, you can feel free to read more about that in the portal post. I'll have the link to that and all of the other stories I mentioned down in the video description. You can also find the like button down in the video description, so if you like this video, you can click that like button. We would appreciate it. You can also subscribe to receive our content as soon as it becomes available. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again on Wednesday or Friday. Who knows?